How's it going, everyone? Happy Monday. Thought that circling around in my head right before I booted this camera on and started recording. My first year in LA, which was about 7 to 8 years ago, I went to an acting class, and the first day when a new actor shows up, they get to do a monologue, and the acting instructor asks them a bunch of questions about their life, their goals, their motivations, yada yada yada. And I remember something that has stayed with me since that day. I did my monologue, and I remember sitting up on stage just feeling really hot. Felt like I was brimming with energy, and I was just ready for the process to just move through it smoothly, I suppose. And the acting instructor, he told me specifically that I will experience satisfaction through the completion of projects. And that's how I will achieve fulfillment overall, completing projects. Which is interesting to an extent, since he wasn't really giving me advice for an actor, but more so advice for a producer and ultimately content creator. The completion of projects. And 8 years later, I'm inclined to agree with him. My happiest moments in life, aside from being intimate with a woman, my happiest moments in life have all been centered around finishing something that's important to me and seeing it through to the end. The one specific instance that sticks most readily in my mind is when I finished my manuscript, The Narcissist. I spent a whole summer writing this book, 3 months, and by the time I was done with it, it was 849 pages. Something like 300,000 words, or twice that. I can't remember the word count anymore. It's been so long. I wrote it when I was about 22, 23. And firstly, it was the best 3 months of my life, where I would go to work at Applebee's and later on fine dining restaurant called Capital Grille. And I would count down the hours for my shift to end so I could race back home and continue writing. And I remember when I was waiting tables, I'd be writing the next chapter in my head, and then when I would get home, I would just write the chapter that I had been writing in my head during the shift. And that's how that summer went for me. Interspersed with social interactions with my friends and girlfriend. It was a beautiful time to be alive. And I remember that final day when I raced home after finishing my shift at Applebee's, just so excited because I knew that this was the end of the book. And writing those final pages and putting that last period, it was one of the most satisfying experiences I've ever had. And it is hard to describe moments in my life that can compare to that one. It really is. I think I've always been seeking out an experience equivalent to that one, which is kind of a shame, since you have to consider the fact that this manuscript was never published. No one's ever read this book, besides 20 people that I know. It's not popular. It hasn't earned me any money. But my most satisfying moment of life wasn't from getting it published or getting awards for it or anything like that. It was literally just finishing a story and being happy with what I wrote. I think I've experienced moments like that when I've turned in a real good acting performance, or I've produced a movie. But that specific experience was just so focused, it was so personal, and nothing has beaten it yet. Now, many years later, almost 10 years later, I find myself asking the question, what could beat that? And should that be the goal? I think the short answer is yes, that should definitely be the goal. And the original question, what could beat that? Gotta find more projects and gotta complete them. Then I ask myself, well, how come I haven't completed the projects that I've set myself out for? For instance, the 5% body fat. Was it just that goal was too difficult to accomplish? No. Why do I quit? Maybe because I don't realize just how important it is to finish what you start. What it could mean to me. Instead, my mind arrives at the futility of it all. The lack of any sort of progress occurring. Doing something and then not reaping any benefits or rewards from it. But thinking back on that time, finishing that manuscript, there were no rewards. There was no progress other than the fact that I had done something that I had set out to do. And it took me 3 months to do it. It really is just that simple. And then when you get into the weeds about the whole thing, making money, being able to provide for yourself and your son, speaking to myself specifically, yeah, it does get a little bit more complicated, because now you're no longer just thinking about what's appealing to you without a concern of financial gain. There is that factor that has to be taken into consideration. Still though, I think the things that I'm interested in could net me earnings enough that I can provide for myself and for my son and my future family. I think it's just a matter of pursuing it, fighting for the life that I want, and rigorously, aggressively chasing the completion of my projects. So what's my next project? What is my next project? %5 body fat? Can't I do more than just focus on getting to 5% body fat? Is that too difficult a task that I can't juggle something else? Haven't done it yet, so it must be pretty difficult. Maybe that's all I can focus on right now. And in the meantime, I continue to post content, refine my thinking, become more disciplined, sound like a broken record, realize that I've already been down this path before and I didn't finish what I started. What's going to make it any different? Resolve. Being the hero of your own story. All that good stuff. Fighting for the life you want. Being the best version of yourself. It all sounds good. It does all sound good. Execution is a whole nother story. Can you be perfect? I think I'll stop asking that question. I think what will be more effective? Can I be better than yesterday? And perhaps, if I can, I will walk the path towards perfection and the completion of projects. Okay. Bit of a contemplative one, this one. For anyone who is watching, I think it's super cool that you are. Really cool. Shoot me a comment. Tell me what's going on. Don't forget, we are friends now. And I care about what's going on in your life. All right. Peace.